Well, greetings there, blade fans. This old sword's back with you once again with another knife by Ivan Braginets. Well, I haven't done too many by him, but I do have some samples on the side. This is the original Rokot, not rocket. You could say rocket because it sort of means the same thing. Here I have up on my screen a little explanation for you. Okay, it's not rocket, it's Rokot. All right, which means in Russian to rumble or boom. Very auspicious these days, I would say. Won't go there. um, Ivan is a Ukrainian knife designer. He is noted in making knives or designing knives for the Crystal Knife Company that I believe is out of Ukraine or Russia. I'm not sure. He has made knives or designed knives for Kizer, and I believe he's also done some custom knives. If you are a fan of the Knife Nuts podcast with Ivan over there, is it Ivan? I'm sorry if I forgot his name. Sounds like that. You would see a lot of knives from designed by Braginets being sold there, being imported, and so on and so forth. And won't go down that line much further because I'm losing my train of thought. It's early in the morning. My usual excuse. This knife may remind you of other Russian or Ukrainian styled knives, particularly Shirogorov. Not that this one is anywhere in that category price-wise, but it's the straight lines. It's the straight line of the blade out to the handle. It's the straight sort of handle, pretty much. Kind of that elegant utilitarian look, and yet straight and piercy. And a pretty good sized knife in this case. We're going to move on in a minute to the knife of the day, but yeah, we've got like a 3 3/4-ish sort of blade length on this, and we've got overall of like 8 1/4, and pretty good blade length to handle ratio. Well, hold that thought, because here's the knife of the day. And by the way, there have been a few other versions of this. There was one by Lamnia. I looked for it. I know I've got it. It's an M390 and all blacked out. Lamnia is a Finnish from Finland knife company, knife seller. And they had their own special version of this. As far as I know, that's the only place you could get it. And there have been some other special versions of the Rokot. We'll get to this in a bit, but he's got some special features on this one that aren't on the new one. Anyway, I'm 3 minutes into it and I'm still blabbing. But here we have, and let's not upstage it with that one. Here we have the Rokot, which came out recently from Real Steel in a Framelock titanium version with kind of a copper infused carbon fiber. Really neat. It's got, I think, some nice appointments to it, which place it above and beyond the $150 price range. I got this from White Mountain Knives. I believe there is this version and maybe one other version in the Framelock. The difference being in this new one, besides materials, S35VN, titanium, and carbon fiber, is that when they're closed, you're going to see some differences, right? Got a back flipper here on this Framelock, got a front flipper and a thumb stud opener on the original. And this is the original N690 on this guy, by the way. So when we open them up, we've got exactly the same blade. I don't think they've varied it much at all. Wondering if this one's a little taller in that section there. We'll see. Inch, right? And Yeah, a little under an inch. Yeah, it is just a little bit wider in here. That's interesting. Maybe because of the provision for the front flipper. I don't know. But this is a little more slender. And when you see the measurements, you'll notice that this is a very slender handle as well. And yet, comfortable with ample jimping here. A very nice, I would call it, was it, could we call it bead blast? No, it's really more of a satin finish. For some reason or other, these knives are fingerprint magnets, so if the blade looks a little funky, all that is a little bit of oil from the hands. Not that I have that much oil these days for an old guy. So there we've got the Framelock with a hardened steel insert. There's your relief for your lock bar. It's great that they have the handle inserts on both sides. Yes, that is becoming a thing because even knives like Chavez that I have, beautiful, well, G10 on one side, and then you go to the other side and it's just blah, plain titanium. I like it when they dress it up on both sides. It's a little extra effort and a little extra expense, but it looks really great. Got kind of a fuller going on there, same as the original Real Steel. Right there, if we can get it in, S35VN. Like I said, it's early. There's Ivan's logo, kind of a animal horn kind of a thing. Hard to determine exactly what that is, but kind of looks like a horned beast. And on all of his knives, you will see that they use a slotted pivot rather than a Torx pivot. That is interesting. As far as I know, it's a captured pivot. What they did do on this one that is different than the original is they did not use bearings. This is on nylon washers. And I could see them pretty clearly. I don't know if I can show you under the camera light here. Yeah, you may not be able to, may just be able to catch it on that side over there. I checked them out with a stronger flashlight, and they definitely on this one are washers. And yet, although it won't drop shut, it does snap open quite nicely. It fires well. Again, it's more of a friction drop on the way back. A couple of shakes will get you there, or maybe one strong shake. I don't know. Yeah, pretty close. Flipper tab is skeletonized and very subdued, and yet we've got some jimping there that grabs very nicely. Especially since that's your only way of opening it. You could use this as a nail nick. Yep. And that could be the intent. And one thing I will show you is on the original, he used Morse code to spell his name in Russian on the clip and on the G10 handle scales, which is interesting. And notice we've got screws there that, come on, focus. We got screws there that are all slotted. Do we have that here? They did make a provision here for, it looks like T8s. I'm not going to say for sure. If you must know, I do have my WIA set here, and I'm dropping junk on the table. Let's see if I can get a, that's a 7. Here's an 8. Let's see what the body screws are. Nope, those are going to be T6s, I'm pretty sure. Let's drop down one, see if we can get to a T6. So you may be disappointed that the body screws are, yes, in fact, T6s, okay. So slotted on the pivot and T6s on the body. Well, let's get some measurements since we're talking specifics here. Overall length of the knife is 8 1/4, just like the original. And the blade length is just shy of 3 3/4. We're going to call it like a 365. How about that? And in inches, like I said, pretty slim. Yep, right at a 1/2 inch. Quite nice. And the S35VN blade, 0.11. And metrically 3 millimeters. And the weight, not too heavy a knife. And we're going to find out if it's lighter or heavier than the original. Okay, so I'm set to imperial ounces. And we are at 3.6 ounces on that knife. And we are at 3.96 on the original. So heavier on the original with a steel frame and the G10 handle slabs. Lighter on the titanium and carbon fiber. Take another look around. We've got some nice detail on the spine, whereas we've got the G10 spacer on this guy on the original, and it is sort of gapped there, bridged. You can see the light coming through. I wonder if they did that here. Made some changes, so that's not bridged, or we don't see any light coming through. It's just a solid half, I would call it, back spacer. Nice carbon fiber with that copper sort of infused look to it. At least that's what they're calling it. It doesn't stand out as sharply as some grades of that copper infused carbon fiber, but enough to where you can get a little bit of sparkle going on there if you put it in the light just right. So the Rokot, a very nice, I would call it gentleman's folder, larger gentleman's folder. Still a very useful knife with a high grind. Did come through quite sharp with the edge. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, it's slicey. It is extremely slicey. And I won't bother with the original. I think the original is fairly slicey as well. I love cutting paper. Just gets all over the place. So we're going to put that guy out there, and we're going to take a look at another knife designed by Ivan. This is the Kizer Aurora, and this came from Knife Nuts podcast when they had the drop on these a couple years ago, I would say at this point. This is a really cool knife with this giant kind of textured fuller on both sides. High flat grind, thick, titanium handle, S35VN blade, and both thumb studs, and a very pointy back flipper. And this pointiness out here, which sort of accepts the thumb studs as a method of bracing it, because there's no pin there that I'm aware of. Once again, you see his slotted pivot. There's his logo. And a very nicely done pocket clip with texture, and lots of nice milling on this. A comfortable knife, despite its odd look. Of course, you're not holding the blade, and it's really the blade that's looking different with this. I think I said S35VN, so we got S35VN here. We've got a plain titanium handle there that's milled. Got exactly the same length knife. Here's one that Ivan designed for Kizer. It's called the Odin. And here we've got something interesting, carbon fiber that has been milled and textured. You don't often see that because they want to show off the carbon fiber. But yes, this is carbon fiber. It's on both sides. Beautiful job by Kizer. A bigger knife, longer blade by about a 1/2 inch. And if we line them all up like that, yes, definitely overall about 1 inch longer on the Odin. Big knife, big knife. Not still made. Sorry about that, out of production. I hate to show you stuff that you can't get, but that's the way it is sometimes in the knife world. You just wait a month. So we'll take another look at this really fine knife. I think I'll leave you the links for White Mountain. I think they're still up there. Nice light knife, beautiful, well under 4 ounces. Hand filling, good size. Got a 3.65-inch blade-ish. And just nicely done. If you're looking for a knife that seems to shine outside of its price range and its class, check this out. Well, this old sword signing off. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe.